Jai students, in the last lecture, we were studying the chapter The Address, written by Marga Minko. Dear students, in this chapter, The Address is a moving short story of Marga Minko. During World War II, Germany invades Holland. A woman with her daughter had to flee from home. The mother dies. Long after the war, the daughter came back to her town. She meets the mother. She meets the woman with whom her mother had left all her belongings. The woman even refuses to recognize her, nor does she show any intention of returning the things she has in her possession. The narrator then gives up the idea of getting them back again. She decides to leave all of them behind with her. She resolves to forget the address where those belongings lie in an unpleasant surrounding. This is what we are going to study in this chapter, The Address. So, till now, we studied page number 10 and 11. In that, we came to know how Mrs. S's daughter visits number 46 Marconi Street. And there, the woman present, she refuses to recognize the girl. Then the narrator starts thinking of her mother. So now let's move forward from page number 11, second last paragraph. Have you agreed with her that she should keep everything I asked? Here I is narrator. Then the narrator asked to her mother that whether she had agreed with Mrs. Darling that she would keep all the things. As if that's necessary, my mother cried. It would simply be an insult to talk like that. Now she is telling, mother is telling that as if that is very necessary. Then she told that it would be an insult to talk like that with the lady. And think about the risk she is running each time she goes out of our door with a full suitcase or bag. Then she is telling, just observe the risk which she is carrying every time she leaves our home with that full suitcase or full bag. Now all of you turn to page number 12. My mother seemed to notice that I was not entirely convinced. She looked at me reprovingly, and after that we spoke no more about it. Here, the narrator's mother, she seemed to notice that her daughter was not convinced by the reason which she had given. She looked at the narrator in a reproving manner, but after that they did not speak anything else on that matter. Next paragraph. Meanwhile, I had arrived at the station without having paid much attention to things on the way. I was walking in familiar places again for the first time since the war, but I did not want to go further than was necessary. I didn't want to upset myself with the sight of streets and houses full of memories from a precious time. Now, here, the narrator is telling, as she was thinking about the conversation between her and mother, by that time she arrived at the station, and she is telling that she did not pay much attention to the things which were present on the way. She was walking, though she was walking in the familiar places again for the very first time since the war, but she did not wanted to go any further than what was necessary for her, because she did not wanted to upset herself from the sight of those streets and houses that were full of memories from that precious old time. The next paragraph. In the train back, I saw Mrs. Darling in front of me again, as I had the first time I met her. Now, as she has already boarded the train, so while she was once again in the train, Mrs. Darling's face was once again in front of her when she had met her for the very first time. It was the morning after the day my mother had told me about her. So, when the narrator and Mrs. S, when they had the conversation about Mrs. Darling, the very next day, early in the morning, the narrator got the chance to see Mrs. Darling. I had got up late and coming downstairs, I saw my mother about to see someone out. So that morning, she got up a bit late, and while she was coming downstairs, she saw that her mother was waving goodbye to someone, a woman with a broad back, and she was the lady who was having a broad back. Her mother was about to wave goodbye to the lady who was having a broad back. There is my daughter, said my mother. She beckoned to me. Beckon means indicated. Here, Mrs. S, she pointed out towards her daughter and told to that broad back lady that her daughter was there. The woman nodded and picked up the suitcase under the coat rack. She wore a brown coat and a shapeless hat. The woman, she was not at all eager to see Mrs. S.'s daughter, so she simply nodded her head and picked up the suitcase. Under the coat rack is a stand where the coats are hanged. The suitcase was kept there. She was wearing a brown coat and she was having a hat that was shapeless. Does she live far away? I asked, seeing the difficulty she had going out of the house with the heavy suitcase. The lady did not stop to talk to the daughter. In fact, she picked up the suitcase and rushed out of the house. When she moved out, then the narrator asked that whether she lived quite far away. When she noticed that she was having a great difficulty in picking up the suitcase and moving out of the house, then the mother told her the address in Marconi Street. Said my mother, number 46, remember that. उसी समय उसकी माँ ने उसे वो नंबर दिया, that its number is 46 and that lady she lives in Marconi Street. Next paragraph. I had remembered it, but I had waited a long time to go there. Initially, after the liberation means freedom. Here the narrator is telling that she remembered the address, but she waited for a quite long time to go there. So now she is telling that after the freedom, she was absolutely not interested in all that stored stuff. After they got freedom, she did not wanted to get all those stored stuff, and naturally I was also rather afraid of it. She is adding that she was rather afraid of meeting all those stored stuff. Afraid of what? Afraid of being confronted with things that had belonged to a connection that no longer existed. So, what was she afraid of? She was afraid of coming face to face with the things that belonged to the connection that was no longer with her, and that connection was her mother, which were hidden away in cupboards and boxes and waiting in vain until they were put back in their right places. Now she is telling that those things, they were simply hidden inside the cupboards, inside the boxes, and they were waiting in vain just to go back to their right place, which had endured all those years because they were things. Endured means bear, sehna, and they had bore because they were simply things. They were not humans, they were not living beings, so they only endured and were kept in cupboards and boxes. They were packed up. Next paragraph. But gradually everything became more normal again. Bread was getting to be a lighter color. Now here the narrator is telling, but slowly after the liberation everything was getting normal. There was a bed you could sleep in unthreatened. Now she is telling that there was a life where you could live without any fear. You could now earn your living, earn your bread and butter without any fear. A room with a view you were more used to glancing at each day. And now she is telling that she was having a room. The view of that room she was quite used to looking daily. And one day I noticed I was curious about all the possessions that must still be at that address. Then one day it came to her mind, it came to her notice that she still wanted to inquire about all the possessions that might still be present at that address. I wanted to see them, touch, remember. Now, here the narrator is telling that she wanted to see them, she wanted to touch and remember them. Next paragraph. After my first visit in vain to Mrs. Darling's house, I decided to try a second time. Now, a girl of about 15 opened the door to me. I asked her if her mother was at home. So, after her first visit, which went in vain, the narrator, she decided to give a second visit. And this time, when she visited 46 Marconi Street, at that time, a girl opened the door. She was of about 15 years of age. And when she asked, the narrator asked that girl whether her mother was at home or not. No, she said, my mother's doing an errand. Errand means a short journey, just undertaken in order to deliver something. So the girl, she replied that her mother was not there, as she had already gone out to give out some message. No matter, I said, I'll wait for it. On that, the narrator replied that she was ready to wait. Now, all of you open page number 13. I followed the girl along the passage. An old-fashioned iron Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the Feast of Lights. It's a Hebrew festival in December. To the narrator, she followed the girl along the passage. There she noticed that a candle holder was hanging very next to a mirror. Hanukkah was a candle holder. We never used it because it was much more cumbersome than a single candlestick. Cumbersome matlab bulky. So here the narrator was thinking that they had never used that Hanukkah because it was quite bulky as compared to a single candlestick. Next para, won't you sit down? Asked the girl. She held open the door of the living room and I went inside past her. The girl, she asked, won't you sit down? And she opened the door of the living room. The narrator, she followed that girl inside the living room. I stopped, horrified. I was in a room I knew and did not know. The narrator was quite shocked when she entered that living room because she was entering in the room which was known to her, but she was paying the visit there for the very first time. I found myself in the midst of things I did want to see again, but which oppressed me in the strange atmosphere. अब यहाँ पे नरेटर का ये कहना है that she found herself in between the things that she had wanted to see. She longed to see those things which had a connection with the past. But now those things, they were kept in such a cruel and strange atmosphere, or because of the tasteless way everything was arranged. Now she is telling possibly those things looked strange to her because they were managed in a very tasteless manner. Because of the ugly furniture or the muggy smell that hung there. Then she is adding, because possibly the furnitures were very ugly or that stifling smell was present, possibly because of those things that room was looking strange to her. I don't know, but I scarcely dared to look around me. She was not knowing why that room, though everything was there of hers, but still why that was quite strange for her. She's telling that she don't know, she didn't knew it, but she dare not look around the room. The girl moved a chair. I sat down and stared at the wooden tablecloth. Now, the girl gave a chair. Narrator sat down on that chair and started staring at the tablecloth, which was of woolen, and it was spread there on the table. I rubbed it. Automatically, the narrator's finger, they started moving on the tablecloth. My fingers grew warm from rubbing. Now, when she was touching that tablecloth with her hand, her past memories, those precious memories, they revived, and with that her hands grew warm. I followed the lines of the pattern. Her hands were moving in the pattern which were drawn on that tablecloth. Somewhere on the edge there should be a burn mark. that had never been repaired. Now she remembered that somewhere at the edge there was a burn mark, and that burn mark was never repaired. My mother will be back soon, said the girl. I have already made tea for her. Will you have a cup? The girl, she told the narrator that her mother will be back soon. Then she added that she had already prepared tea for her mother. And then she inquired whether the narrator also wanted to have a cup of tea. The narrator said, "Thank you." I looked up. The girl put cups ready on the tea table. The narrator looked up and she noticed that the girl was putting the cups up on the tea table. She had a broad back, just like her mother, and that girl was also having a broad back. She poured tea from a white pot. All it had was a gold border on the lid. I remembered. She opened the box and took some spoons out. So now she was pouring tea from a white pot. The narrator now tried to remember that that white pot was having a gold border on the lid. She remembered. Then she opened the box and took out some spoons also. That's a nice box. I heard my own voice. Means this time the narrator was speaking. She told that the box which she has taken out was a nice one. It was a strange voice, as though each sound was different in this room. Now, the narrator is telling that whatever she spoke was looking quite strange to her, as the sound in that room was very different. Oh, you know about them? She had turned around and brought me my tea. Then she asked, "Okay, whether do you know about all these boxes?" By the time she brought tea for the narrator, she laughed. "My mother says it is antique. We have got lots more." She pointed round the room. "See for yourself." The girl added that her mother says that all these things, they were unique, and then she insisted the narrator to look around the room for all the antique things. I had no need to follow her hands. I knew which things she meant. I just looked at the still life over the tea table. The narrator is telling that she did not needed any instruction to follow, to look at the things. She very well knew what that 15-year-old girl meant. And the narrator was looking at the still life over the tea table. As a child, I had always fancied the apple on the pewter plate. Pewter plate means it's a alloy plate, either made of tin or lead. So now the girl is telling, narrator is telling that when she was a girl, she had a liking for the apple that were made on that tin plate. "We use it for everything," she said. "Once we even ate off the plates hanging there on the wall." The girl, she was quite enthusiastic. She told, "We use it for everything." Then she laughed and said that once they even ate in the plate which was hanging there on the wall. I watched too. I wanted to so much, but it wasn't anything special. I had found the burn mark on the tablecloth. The girl looked questioningly at me. अब तक हमारे नरेटर को उस पर बर्न का मार्क टेबल क्लॉथ पे मिल गया था. जब उसे टेबल क्लॉथ पे बर्न का मार्क मिल गया, then the girl, that brought back girl, she looked questioningly at the narrator. "Yes," I said, "you get so used to touching all these lovely things in the house, you hardly look at them anymore." On that, the narrator told कि yes, whenever something is there in front of you and you daily use it, then it's very hard to look at some of the faults. You only turn to page number 14. Notice when something is missing because it has to be repaired or because you have lent it, for example. Then the narrator is telling it's very hard to notice. Only you notice when something is missing, because either because it has to be repaired or because you have lent it to somebody. Again I heard the unnatural sound of my voice, and I went on. I remember my mother once again asked me if I would help her polish the silver. This time, once again, the narrator was hearing some unnatural sound of her own voice. She is telling that she remembered कि एक बार उसकी मम्मा ने उससे कहा था that if she would help her in polishing the silver. It was a very long time ago and I was probably bored that day, or perhaps I had to stay at home because I was ill, as she had never asked me before. Now here the narrator is telling her mother asked her to polish the silver. That was quite a long time ago, and probably that day she was getting bored because she had stayed at home that day. Her mother had never asked her before to do any such work. I asked her which silver she meant, and she replied, surprised, that it was the spoons, forks, and knives, of course. जब नरेटर ने अपनी मम्मा से पूछा कि what silver, then in a surprised manner she replied that the silvers were spoon, forks, knives. And that was the strange thing I didn't knew. The cutlery we ate of every day was silver. The narrator that day only came to know that the cutlery with which they were eating, they were actually made of silver. The girl laughed again. अब नरेटर की बात सुन के उस लड़की को फिर से हंसी आने लगी. I bet you don't know it is either. I looked intently at her. Intently means attentively. The narrator, very attentively looking at the girl, she asked, I bet, मैं शर्त लगाती हूँ कि तुम्हें भी नहीं पता होगा. I bet you don't know it is either means indirectly she was telling that the cutlery which were there in her house were of silver. What we eat with? She asked. Girl was also surprised. कि जिससे हम खाना खाते हैं? Well, do you know? She hesitated. She walked to the sideboard and wanted to open a drawer. I'll look. It's in here. The girl, she hesitated a bit. She walked towards that sideboard and she wanted to open the drawer. She told कि I'll look it. It's all here. I jumped up. I was forgetting the time. I must catch my train. When she noticed that the girl was hesitatingly going towards the board to look at the cutlery, at that moment only, she remembered that she had to catch the train. She had her hand on the drawer. Don't you want to wait for my mother? The girl, she was still holding the drawer and questioned, don't you want to meet my mother? No, I must go. I walked to the door. The girl pulled the drawer open. I can find my own way. The girl, as it was surprising for her that the cutlery which were there in her house were of silver, so she didn't even went towards the door to wave goodbye to the narrator. Then the narrator told that she would find her own way. As I walked down the passage, I heard the jingling of spoons and forks. When the narrator she was walking down the passage, she heard the jingling. Jingling means very light metallic sound of spoons and forks. At the corner of the road, I looked up at the nameplate, Marconi Street. It said I had been at number 46. The address was correct. Now here, when she was at the corner of the road, she looked at the number plate and then she realized that she was exactly at the correct address. But now I didn't want to remember it anymore. I wouldn't go back there because the objects that were linked in your memory with the familiar life of former times instantly lose their value when severed from them. So now here she is telling she wouldn't go back again to that address because the objects that are linked in your memory with something of the past, of the former time, they lose their value when they get detached from you. When you see them again in the strange surrounding, a detachment is there. And what should I have done with them in a small rented room? Now the narrator is also telling you what will she do with all those silver cutleries and antique things in a very small, and that also a rented room, where the shreds of black out paper still hung along the windows. Shreds means strip of paper. Black paper, they were hanging on the windows, and no more than a handful of cutlery fitted in the narrow table drawer. And in her drawer, in that small rented room, a very small cutlery, it fitted. I resolved to forget the address. Of all the things I had to forget, that would be the easiest. Now the narrator is telling she resolved to forget the address. उसका ये कहना है कि कुछ और भूलने से अच्छा है कि मैं उस एड्रेस को भूल जाऊँ, वो ज़्यादा आसान होगा. Instead of forgetting all those belongings, instead of forgetting the things which were related with her past, she decided that forgetting that address would be the easiest one. So dear students, that was the chapter. I hope you would have understood. Thank you.